invite the panelists on stage. We have with us Shri D.S. Prashant, CEO, Startup and IT Promotion Cell, Department of Information Technology, Electronics and Communications, Government of Goa. Shri Sai Rane, Founder, Neural Kissan. Shri Ishu Bindal, Founder, Clean Carbon. Shri Arindam Pal, Vice President at Primus Partners. Mr. Malcolm Afonso, Founder, Spatial Craft. And lastly, a moderator, Captain Utpal Datta, Founder Director, Nishtha Vigyan Private Limited. With that, I now hand it over to our panelists to begin the discussion.
And good morning to our esteemed speakers on the panelists here. Members, we are here for Agriculture Conclave 2025, and we are going to navigate the theme through navigating Goa's agriculture sector for Viksit Bharat, which is driven by ASSOCHAM, Goa here. We are here this morning to discuss the role of technology, which can benefit agriculture at large. So that is the spectrum what we are going to discuss. So straight away we jump to the first part of this, which is the most difficult part, to roll the ball. So the ball falls to Mr. D.S. Prashant. So I would request you, sir, kindly linking today's theme, navigating Goa's agriculture sector for Viksit Bharat, regarding Goa's, what is your opinion regarding Goa's agro-climate condition, which are technologically effective and which can be scalable for use exits, and where is the higher income achievable? That is the layer we want to understand from your background, sir. But when I went through the background of each of you, it's quite illustrious. So I would request on the first part of the question, kindly elaborate your background, keeping the theme in mind. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Captain, for the warm start of the full day's program. My name is D.S. Prashant, and I'm the CEO of the Startup and IT Promotion Cell, which is supposed to promote startups in the state of Goa and technology companies. I'm basically a postgraduate in agricultural sciences, so this is very close to my heart. And I also did a training program in technology commercialization from the University of Texas, and spent around 20-25 years in the startup ecosystem right here in Goa. So the question is, according to the agroclimatic zones and the agroclimatic situation, what could be the opportunities for startups in the agri sector, right? So Goa being a place which is a very small state, area-wise, more than 1/3 already under forest cultivation. So what is left for agriculture is a very small area. And within that we have heavy rainfall, humidity, and all the challenges, and a tourist-driven or tourist-linked demand ecosystem, particularly for the agriculture sector. So looking at this, what I feel is the opportunity what lies for the future is not volume-based agriculture, but value-based agriculture. So basically it is on the radar, on the strength of how much value can add to a fundamental basic product, which can actually drive the ecosystem and make India a really Viksit Bharat. So why I'm bringing this value base, because that is one of the most important conditions or context for us to understand whether we are reaching to be a developed country by 2047. So if you are measuring the development, one of the key parameters is to take the economy from a $4 trillion to a $30 trillion by 2047. So definitely the value of the economy or the value is very much measured here. Now, if I look at certain examples of what has happened, maybe 2-3 examples I'd like to cite from the startups which have been based in Goa. Goa has around 700 odd Government of India registered startups. which is basically the DPIIT registered startups. And out of this, close to 20%, maybe 19% or so, come from the food and beverage sector. That's a pretty large number. In fact, Goa has around 332 women-led, startups, which is quite a pretty good number when it compares to other states. So, and this is in public domain. These numbers are in public domain. It's on the Startup India website. So, with this large number of food and beverage startups, what they are actually doing is they are adding value to the basic product which is there. It's fundamental. So one product I would like to look at is, like for example, coffee. Coffee is not grown in Goa, but you will find a lot of startups which are specializing in offering this as a solution because it's a tourist-linked demand. So high-end coffee centers, artisanal coffee centers are thriving very well in the coastal belt. Now, this is at a value. So you have basic coffee shops and then artisanal maybe at a certain value. But higher than that, there was a company called McCaffeine. If many of you may be using the product, it is basically a wellness product, which is. So they had set up their office in Goa. They were working out from Pato, and they are a very well-known brand in the wellness space. So they are using coffee as a base and making products out of it. So this is what I'm talking about, what value are I going to add to the same product and where you are going to sit. Another product which I can talk about is one of the star performers from the state of Goa who has won many awards, who also came on Shark Tank, that is Wakao Foods. A product which is not being utilized well, which is almost getting spoiled and getting rotten in the wild as well as in the countrysides, like a jackfruit, has been completely revamped and been exported to the European countries and the Middle East. So value addition to that. Then there were companies like Nalla. There was one company which we were interacting very closely called Letcetra, which was basically creating greeny leafy vegetables which were sold to the 5-star hotels and so forth. So these I'm talking just about certain aspects related to the finishing of the product or adding value to the product. But in the agriculture sector, there are a lot of opportunities for startups to also work and see how productivity can be increased. So right now we are working very closely with a company which is using AI as a tool to increase the productivity. So they used a World Bank project, did some work in Bihar, and now they are trying to see how best they can work on the paddy fields and see, using the data over a period of time, how to maximize the output. So these are the ways one can maximize and make more profits, and this is the future, not fundamental basic production at the grassroots level.
Thank you, Mr. Prashant, for giving that spectrum with respect to Goa. Now I have jumped to Mr. Arindam. We see your company's logo on the slide here, supported by Primus, and you are closely involved in building digital agri, eNAM, and have seen India's agri-market ecosystem evolved in the first hand itself. So what's your opinion on that part? But similarly, you have to give your little intro before we start that.
Sure, Captain. Thank you so much. Good morning to all our panelists and good morning to the lovely audience. Just give a premise. My name is Utpal. I'm working as a Vice President at Primus Partners. We are a homegrown consultant firm in the likes of Atmanirbhar Bharat, and answering Honorable Prime Minister's answer, where are the Indian consulting firms? So here we are, we're working very closely with most of the states, solving government problems, one step at a time, working with a lot of departments. And I am very close to agriculture. I've been working almost half a decade and more, almost a decade rather, in agriculture sector. I was fortunate enough, answering your question, sir, I was fortunate enough to be associated to the growth story of what again turned out to be the Prime Minister's flagship initiative called the eNAM, let's say Electronic National Agriculture Market. For people who don't know, I'll just give a 30-second premise on what eNAM is all about. eNAM is basically digitizing the Agriculture Producing Marketing Committee, or what we know as the APMCs, and digitizing the manual touch points for a farmer's value chain. That involves basically is you can say the gate entry the digitization of the gate entry, to the lot management, to the quality check, to the trade, whether it is open auction or closed auction, regardless of the place. Then you have the payment, the sale agreement, the sale bill. Then you have the bill and then the payment. All of the things to be done on a digital platform sounds to be quite literally impossible, and it was an impossible feat as well. And going back to 14th April 2016, this seemed to be quite a momentous feat and a vision that can't be thought about, because it's really scary. And I'm very surprised to know that today we have close to 1,500 mandis onboarded onto the platform. And the hurdles that we faced to see to it that digital transformation takes place was mind-blowing. I mean, we realized something, that change is the only constant. But digital transformation has its perils, digital transformation has its resistance. And I'll just cite a very small example over here. I mean, we started off with Telangana, went to, I was heading Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat, Maharashtra, and every state, every APMC had its own perils, had its own issues. And one of the very small problems right at the center, at the start, was the gate entry. So Ahmednagar APMC, which is bang on a highway, was asked to pilot the digital entry, and there is thousands of trucks that used to come, and in an advent we have incapable people, pardon my language, but we have people who are not so proficient with technology. It used to cause a cascading effect of a mile long, of a kilometer long, trucks, and used to call police so that we don't get hit up, and we have seen being hit up firsthand. So, to enable this, it was imperative that we enable the people who are proficient with digital, involve younger people, enable them with tabs, and this I'm talking about almost a decade ago. So, yes, where people showed resistance कि भाई हमारे पास budget phone है, we will not go ahead with Enam, to what we have today with AI-enabled solutions, as what Sir was telling. This is a journey which is mind-blowing, and there's something that I would like to talk about going further, but then I'll leave the platform to the others. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. As we were discussing, sitting there, understanding, I found the second youngest member, Mr. Sai here. First is being me. Okay. And since he is from that generation where we talk about AI, so I want to understand from you, Mr. Sai, what is the impact of AI-powered hydroponic farming in sustainability? That's a very interesting zone, especially with respect to crop yield and resource efficiency. On the similar format, just give us more info. Yes, sir.
So, firstly, my name is Sai Rane, and I'm the founder at Kissan. So, the initial question was going to be that explain your journey over the past 15 years. Then I told sir, 15 years ago I was in the first time, because I am 22 years old, and so I will speak a bit about how I started with this. So in the 9th standard I had realized that watering crops is something that everyone, if you have a garden, you're going to water your crops on a daily basis. But if you could very easily do an automation to make sure that you are watering this, just a sensor actuator, and every time the soil humidity goes low, you water the plants. That is what my basic understanding was. And over the years, while I was working with embedded systems, I realized that there are a lot of parameters with regards to a plant that can be monitored, right? And on the basis of this monitoring and this data, you can then take concise steps to make sure that this yield is better. In the market, how this is being done is that you would usually have an IoT dashboard where this data was looked at, and a person who has some expertise would interpret this data and take some action. And while working on this, I also came to understand about the concept of vertical farming, indoor farming, right? But there is a lot of hype around hydroponics and vertical farming, and a lot of that is that this as a concept does not work in commercial spaces, right? So I wanted to understand what is the fundamental problem in this complete model. That is, you have two. One is that the market is not ready, or you cannot make a scalable business model on this. And secondly, the management is not done in a way, or it can't be done without having this data and having extreme amounts of precision. So that is where I thought that if we can make a loop, like you take in the sensors to understand what is happening to the plant, you take a picture of the plant, and you process it with the AI layer that can understand all of these parameters since it has been trained on millions of data sets, and then you can understand the correlation between how the plant is going to react if we do a specific change to the environment. And on the basis of that, we can get a good yield in a low amount of time. And this is being done hydroponically, it is being done in an indoor environment. And to come to the question of sustainability, when you're doing it hydroponically, you're using 70% less water. With our AI model, when you compare it with a traditional controlled agriculture farm, that is doing it indoors with the HVAC cooling system, etc., you can reduce the cost of the energy by 25% and the consumption of the energy by 25%. And you've already saved on water. Plus, with the AI model, you can do it in a very predictable manner such that the plant is getting exactly what it requires so that you're saving on the resources, and this when you're making sure that the energy that is coming in is from a non-polluting way, it is like a solar energy, then it can completely be done end-to-end sustainably.
Thank you for taking us to that AI journey of agriculture. That's going to be the next level. So now we'll straight away go to the green belt zone to Mr. Ishu, where you're coming from, and you're the founder of Clean Carbon. Since your work involves close to collaboration with farmers, so that's an area where we actually look for technology. What key challenges you have identified that they face today? And how does your initiative aim to address them? It's a very specific zone. Again, kindly introduce your...
Thank you so much. I'm Ishu, Bindal, founder at Clean Carbon, where we are working on climate resilient agriculture. So before talking about the solution, let me talk about the problems that I've observed in the farmers are facing in Goa. So Goa's per capita GDP is among the highest in India. So the farmers in Goa need to earn more money compared to other farmers to sustain in Goa. And they face problems because of the environmental factors. There is heavy rainfall in Goa that make the soil very acidic because of a lot of ocean water coming back to the farmland. It has high salinity, which decreases the productivity for the farmer. The solution that we are bringing is enhanced rock weathering, where we spread alkaline rock material in the acidic soil, which improves the pH of the soil, which improves the productivity for the of the crop, and also decreases the fertilization used by 5%, and everything free for the farmers. How we do so is, because of this work, we also generate good amount of carbon credits, and that makes sure the model is very sustainable. So this is what we are working on.
Thank you, Mr. Sai, for the initial introduction. We'll come and elaborate that part in the second segment. Now I'll come to Mr. Malcolm. We have been communicating over our drone area where we have common field. So being the founder of Spatial Craft, I keep seeing you talking very passionately about your, from academic field you went to the entrepreneur area, and now you are really thriving there. The activity what you are doing using a drone, actually, I used to do 20 years back using helicopter from the survey decks to collect data for our ocean going charts. So, and amazing that drone can really change the world now. So in today's technological environment, how can a geospatial mapping directly support agriculture planning? That's a very interesting area you can highlight us. And the community farming in the state level, since you are doing so much for the Thank you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Malcolm Afonso, founder of Spatial Craft. We are a geospatial technology firm based right here in Goa. What it means is we make maps, and maps serve as decision-making tools for the communities, for the planners, for the government. Okay, and that's what we do. Now coming to agriculture, So what we see in Goa is we have large stretches of barren fallow land in Goa, okay, and because of various issues that we have faced, migration and all these fields have remained barren. But something interesting happened post-COVID, that is, people suddenly realized that they cannot depend on external supply of vegetables, because we didn't have vegetables for many days when the lockdown hit, and people started turning back to agriculture, back to farming. Okay, so now here the problem is we do not have a current accurate account of how much is the agricultural land available in the village, where it is cultivated, where it is uncultivated. Okay, so this is where geospatial technology is a game changer. Okay, so at Spatial Craft what we do is we combine satellite data, drone data and geoinformatics to know exactly where these fields are available, where they are cultivated, where they are not cultivated. So we are essentially creating a digital replica of the village which has the complete data frozen in time, and from this data the people will get the insight, and just what I mentioned, know where they can plan the irrigation network, where crops are facing flooding issues, where cattle problems are there. And with this insight, they can do better planning. And that is what geospatial technology enables. And right now, we are already implementing this approach in Betarbati village, where we've seen pre-COVID, about 40% agricultural land was cultivated. Today, it is more than 70%. And now we will have the new data, and based on that, we are planning to go 100% fully cultivated. And from my estimate, in a village, the agriculture can support great revenue between 10 to 15 CR annually, supporting more than 300 occupations. So that's the kind of impact we can make when we have the correct tools for better planning. Thank you. Yes, Captain. Before we move forward, we would like to know a little bit more about what you do and how the drones can help prevent the bird menace in what we see in agriculture.
Thank you. It's a different field actually, but not directly related to agriculture. But since we are on a field of drones, so I would like to tell the audience what we do exactly. So when I retired in 2023, I was heading the aviation safety part, and in the airfields, majority of accidents happen because of engine failure, and those engine fails because of ingestion of birds. It's a huge challenge for the safety officer of airfields. So I keep taking lectures. So when I was going for a lecture to one of the airfield, the commanding officer said, since you are already into the drones, give us some innovation. That was the turning point where I was in touch with Mr. Dr. Rahul Marathe from Pune. We were already working on a project where we were spraying a certain powder to tackle this bird menace in the airfield. At that point of time, I was not having the background science behind it. Then before, it was like within 24 hours, the whole scenario changed. So I asked Dr. Marathe, can we convert your the powder to liquid? Then we sat down, he said, yes, why not? You have to understand, these birds come to airfield basically for their food. The food is the worm. And that worm is actually growing there by virtue of certain moisture content. So I said, we will give you the med data. From that data, we'll come to know which worm, and we have the bird hits data, we know exactly which bird. So we correlate that data, and what we are doing is we are reducing the food chain. So he's finally, when he said, okay, I can convert it to liquid, we sprayed the whole, we did the full project in November 23 in one of the airfield. From 8 bird hits, it came down to 1, which was a huge gain for us. Then we did for one airfield close to Visakhapatnam. Then we did a 3-layer at Kochi, where we used some spectral cameras just to understand the moisture content. We could tweak the amount of liquid using those type certified drones. So it is really working wonders. So now we are in talk with one of the civil airfields here also. Probably we can help farmers to reduce whatever ingestion of, we'll have to think about it, how to go about it. Yes, that's my area now. So now, coming back to Mr. Prashant, we would like to more hear about different scenarios now. Now, what kind of action are you seeing in startups in reducing food loss and food waste? Because that is where even we are interested, because food waste generates birds. You know, so I was wondering, can you give us some insight about that part?
Food waste generates birds. Maybe I will not have the correct number, but I think it is around 15 to 20% of food gets wasted, maybe post-harvest in transportation, storage. Professor Kukulkar, the Dean of Agriculture College, will give a correct answer. Am I right, sir, or wrong? Okay, 30%. Okay, fine. So 30% is getting wasted. So that's a huge number, right? First of all, the productivity is so less, and so much of food is getting wasted at multiple levels, both at post-harvest and before that with birds and other things. So how do we solve this? Can technology solve this? So I know about two companies which are, one company which is actually trying to solve this. It is a company called Green Pods, which was invested by one of the incubators based in Goa. What they do is they have a kind of a sachet, and they have a kind of a technology, which is a biotechnology product, which you put in the sachet like a 1 rupee shampoo pouch, and you can put that in a box of mango or a box of any of this high-end produce, which is costly produce, and the shelf life of that product will extend by 15 to 20 days. Suppose it lasts for 10 days or 15 days, then without adding any chemical, any additive externally on the product, it extends the shelf life. So that could actually, and they were working on various product formulation for different products, like fruits, like vegetables, and so forth. So that is one technology which I have seen firsthand, making a huge impact in this space, and there are a lot of other players also who are coming to extending the shelf life of food products, which I have seen. Another way of looking at this is based like crop stubbles. Another company which really did well, which got initially funded from the incubator in Goa, and then they raised our funding from externally, is a company called Datta. What they do is they make coverings or packaging material like an alternative to thermocol from crop stubbles, which is a big issue across the country, because stubble burning is something which is not good for the environment. So that these are two great products which have, which have been supported by Goa initially, and which could actually go on to make a global impact in the days to come. And then there are definitely other, Workout, definitely we spoke about how they are converting a product which is going into waste like a jackfruit into a premium product, earning much. And there are a lot of other, low-end technology, I would say, not using high-end technology, which is converting, say, food waste, which is coming out from hotels and other places, converting into compost and other things. So basically, we look at two aspects here. One is food loss and one is food wastage. Food loss when it comes to not handling it properly during post-harvest, and food waste when the consumers or the enterprises, waste the food and that food could add some value. So I think these are a few examples which have come out, which are going to make a huge difference.
Thank you, Mr. Prashant. From there, I would like to take on Mr. Arindam, because when we're talking about the process, the costing comes in.
Yeah.
So, what is the key technology shift do you feel has truly improved price discovery and market access for the producers?
Okay. Just reiterating this, during my times at ENAM, I was blessed to be working with some of the senior bureaucrats like Ashok sir, and on my way back from Nagar to Pune, very fleetingly, I might not be quoting his direct words, but very fleetingly he said that technology in agriculture is not just about apps and platforms. It's also about timing, trust, and transparency. So I'll just answer your question with a three-pronged approach, sir, and I'll just touch base on a couple of points. So one is the digital agriculture through the government, the public digital agriculture, the research and development, and the smart market linkages. So at the heart of it, we have the digital agriculture mission through AI, big data, geospatial tools, which are actually helping the farmers enable and empower with real-time tracking and real-time data. And these are not tools, mind you, which are things of the future. These are right here, right now. Most of the panelists over here are, ASSOCHAM has cheese that this is facts at large as we speak. With the research and development, we have the ICAR, who have developed close to 2,900 or different type of crops, and out of them 2,661 are crop resilient and pest resilient, along with 156 types of new machinery. How do we take these to the grassroots level is to enable, it's imperative that we enable the KVKs and the SAUs, the state agriculture universities, so that they empower the farmers with IoT-based solutions, drone-based solutions, and that will help them reduce the loss. Taking it further is the smart market linkages. That is where platforms like ENAM come to play with an entire ecosystem of better price discovery, of better price competition amidst traders, the interstate trade that we talk about, and that has grown with time with almost a decade, with close to 1.79 crore odd farmers being onboarded onto the platform, 1,500 APMCs, close to 6,500 crores worth of e-trade, real-time e-payments that has happened onto the platform. And this is what is enabling farmers slowly and gradually as we speak. And very interestingly, sir, private platforms like AgriBazaar, Dehat, BigHeart have actually contributed a lot to what we see is value addition through real-time tracking, real-time data. And very recently I read across this JICA in collaboration with BCG and Dept. They have done a pilot at Himachal with the Solan Mandi for 1,200 odd farmers, with which they were able to bring in close to 10 to 11% more increment value over their produce over the local mandi. So these are some of the things that are actually enabling them, and underlining them is the agri stack. Is a unique ID that farmers are being exposed to, with which we are now able to track the farmer. We built an entire digital ecosystem around the farmer database, the land database, the crop database. This is going to be the use case, a good plug and play use case for crop advisory, the credit, the finance advisory for close to 11 crore farmers. So going forward, so what I feel is it is all about going to be inclusivity and integration of public infrastructure, private innovation, and farmer capacity building through their capability. So this is what I can say.
Thank you, Mr. Arindam. And coming to Mr. Sai, linking to that part, what is Neural Kissan go-to-market strategy in that? How do you link that area for scaling its tech farm and reaching premium markets? That is this different segment of it.
So firstly, what we exactly do at Neural Kissan is that we have high-tech hydroponic vertical farms that are completely controlled by AI. That we collect the data, process it with AI, and we optimize the parameters in a way that we get very high quality of yield. So for example, our main focus crop at the moment is a strawberry plant. For a strawberry plant, the produce that we get, it will be high in bricks. That is basically the sweetness level of that fruit. Plus, since it is an indoor controlled farm, we can do this high quality production throughout the year. Now being indoor, again, we do not need any pesticides, it is zero residue. So all of this technology also enables us to have great amounts of traceability. Basically how it was grown, that can be made available to the end consumer, that is through a time lapse or through all the parameters that it went through. And all of these factors are very crucial when it comes to a premium consumer who wants to make sure that it has great taste and has been cultivated in a very sustainable and a good manner, right? Now, what we've identified is that at the moment, let's say for a strawberry as well, there's a lot of import that is happening when there is no production being done. A lot of this produce comes from from abroad, right? And here itself in Goa, you have like around 200 5-star plus resorts and hotels, that can be a very great entry point for us. From there, scaling to other places where there is a good capacity and people want such kind of produce, like your Bombay, Bangalore, places like that. We want to make sure that we scale to these places and set up our farms locally so that this fresh produce can be made available, and not just sticking to strawberry, but other crops like your blueberry that is very famous at the moment, and other premium crops. But then again, a larger, longer term vision of the company is that once you made a profitable business model, because this yield gets quite a decent profit margin, we can scale it to a level wherein you can take staple crops that are consumed daily by the general masses and make a very good, fresh, residue-free, pesticide-free produce available to the Indian masses, and that is a very large market, and that is where the GTM and the vision of the company is.
So now coming to Mr. Ishu, like many climate tech, all these solutions, this is a very hard-hitting kind of thing. They fail to sustain, right? Yeah. And the scale over time. So there is this stagnation part of it. So what makes your approach both scalable and sustainable?
So, from many decades, people have been researching about climatic solutions. They have done pilots, but the problem comes is that there is no sustainable source of funds for scaling those technologies. Things has changed. Now, climate tech solutions has been commercialized. We are talking about carbon credits over here, and we are not only talking about the very cheap renewable energy credits that are sold at around 0.70 USD. We are talking about high quality durable carbon credits who people like corporates like Microsoft and Shopify and all those people are buying at plus 200 USD per ton. So there is a continuous source of income coming from these carbon credits to make the solutions sustainable. And it is not like as the market situations for carbon credits goes ups and downs with time. What is happening is now these corporates are providing 10-year plus offtake agreements at a certain price today. So for next 10 years, we will have money coming for sustaining that solution and even beyond. And there are multiple kind of solutions even when we talk about carbon removal. One that we are working on is enhanced rock weathering, as I mentioned before, where we work on the pH. But also when we talk from Goan point of view, farmers are facing problem, as I said, the acidity and all other nutrients problems are there. Goa has problems, but Goa also have solutions for all these problems, that what I have observed. As we were talking about the waste, the agricultural waste. What can be done with that waste is, like with the intervention of the government policies and the money that come from these credits, a big scale pyrolysis plant can be set up, where we pyrolyze all this waste and convert it into biochar. Simultaneously, it is going to produce a good amount of electricity that can be sold together. Apart from that, bio oil that can be sold to industry for the industrial fuel, or else there are many other technologies not coming from related to agriculture setting. But we can also pump that bio oil into deep rigs and generate way more quality carbon credits. So all these solutions we are talking about, we have good amount of money to keep it going, and we have money to even make them free for the farmers, for other stakeholders. Even we don't need money from the government to even implement our project. What we need is just facilitation to make those connections with the farmers or certain information startups like us need. If we get access to that, then we can scale it all across Goa and then across India.
Very interesting insight of carbon credit. I didn't know so much of details about it. So over from land, we go to the air, to Mr. Malcolm. Your area of geospatial on drones. What is the cost and scalability of deploying them in the agriculture sector, like in the village level? Like You touched upon it, but can you elaborate on that one?
Yes, sir. So basically, aerial mapping costs less than 20% of what it would cost with other traditional methods of surveying, and yet it delivers millions of data points and terrain models, which is unparalleled. And if you consider the time to map an entire farm, it takes less than 5 minutes. For an entire village, less than a week. And once a village has created this mapping, it essentially has a digital asset that it can use for life, through which they will be able to plan better agriculture, irrigation facilities, plan restoration of ponds, take up GPDP plans better, and make cases for detailed project report and CSR funding. So essentially what I am saying is, it's an investment that would favor the villages for their life, which will enable data-driven planning for the communities. And that's what Spatialcraft is enabling today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was the last question from the panel here. We had discussion, very interesting startup right in the morning, because this is, as per circadian rhythm, we are more awake this time. So I hope a lot of insight has gone to the audience. We will now leave it for the next part to the CEO to take over. Thank you so much.